I don't know why I'm doing this. Why am I doing this? I'm so fucking stupid. Welcome back. I have something exciting to tell you today. I'm so excited. We get back on the same page. So, first up, if you haven't already seen, I did post a video last week which was telling you about a few little books that I unhauled. And there were some books in there that I showed you a stack of that I wasn't actually able to tell you about. Now I can. So, it is 2 days away from when you're watching this video. It is 2 days away from my 12 months until these books will self-destruct. And I got this idea from Becca and the Books. I'll have her video linked down below. But I had so much fun with this. This was before I started YouTube, so I don't actually have a video to react to. I created this post and I said that I would be getting rid of these 12 books that in 12 months, if I didn't read them, they would self-destruct. So now I'm going to give you guys a little bit of an update on how many of them I read, how many of them I didn't read, what I'm unhauling, and I'm also creating a new list for the year of June 2021 to June 2022. This is how I made extra space on my shelves. So yes, I only unhauled about 20 books the other day in that video that you saw, but I've also created a whole nother cart with 13 books on it. So I'm doing 13 books this year, but I like a challenge, and I am not allowed to buy any more books until I finish half of those reads. You heard that. Not allowed to buy any more books. I can have them gifted to me, that's fine, but I'm not allowed to purchase any more books until I read at least half of these 13 books that are in my unhaul project, self-destruct project, whatever you want to call them. This is my challenge to myself. Now these are books that like I don't not want to read. They're just lower on my list and they've been on my shelves for a while and I just kind of need to prioritize them or get rid of them. Now what I'm planning on also doing is I'm planning on adding a punishment to my pick pong punishment jar, which is going to say that I have to pick one of these reads regardless of what the prompt is. That will be my punishment. I won't have to fill the prompt, I'll just have to pick one of these reads. If I can fill the prompt too, awesome, fantastic, but that's going to be one of my punishment choices in my punishment jar for pick pong. If you're unfamiliar with how my pick pong works, I'll have the playlist link down below so you can go check out the new rules that I have installed for this month kind of onwards. Yeah, so here's where we are. I'm going to show you last year's 12, where I'm up to, give you a bit of an update, and then I'm going to show you this 12 months for the coming months. And we will see how many I do, but I have to read at least half before I can buy any more books. So this is going to really encourage me to do so. I don't know why I'm doing this. Why am I doing this? I'm so fucking stupid. I'm going to be in a book buying ban for like another 12 months, aren't I? That's fine. I probably need to be if we're honest with ourselves. So let's jump into last year's stack first. I just realized that I don't obviously have all of these books left, so I need to bring up the Instagram photo. Otherwise, I'm not going to know what books I'm talking about because, spoiler alert, I have unhauled quite a few of them already. Our first one is Garden Stone by Sophie Littlefield. Surprise, surprise, I have not read this. I do have it still planned on trying to get to it, but it's time to unhaul it. I obviously haven't prioritized it. I've reread up on it and now it just doesn't interest me anymore, so goodbye. Next up we have John Connolly's The Lovers. I did read this one and I fucking hated it. It was like a 2-star read. I did not have any enjoyment. I only finished it because it was a pick pong prompt and I wanted to complete pick pong that month. So it has already been unhauled. I got so mad at it, I unhauled it almost instantly. It's no longer in my house, it is gone. Bye-bye, kaput. It blew up early detonation. Before the Fall by Noah Hawley. I did not read, unfortunately. I wanted to get to this one. This is probably the one that was like most high on this list of me wanting to get to, but my plan was to read it from lowest rated to highest rated. When I did this 12, I was going to do it that way in terms of my Goodreads Don't ask me why. I think I was trying to save the best for last or something stupid. Anyways, didn't work out that way. So, didn't read this one. Won't be reading this one. It's going bye-bye. Dear Eddie by Danny Russell. Bye. Did not read, not keeping, no idea why I even bought it in the first place. I think I got this like pre-Bookstagram op shop find for like 50 cents. So yeah, bye. Mother Guilt by Ida Buttrose and Dr. Penny Adams. Another one that I read, and I think I got about 60% through and I just had to DNF it. Like, it was just, I don't know whether it's because I'm not a mother myself, but this book just had nothing for me. Nothing whatsoever. So it's gone. Bye-bye. Yeah, not keeping it. It was a waste of shelf space. In Wilderness by Diane Thompson. I have not read. I'm no longer interested in this one. I reread into it. There's no point in me keeping it. It is self-destructing. It is going bye-bye. Red Dust by Flora MacDonald. This one I buddy read with somebody who was trying to travel the world with their reads, and they went to read an Australian book by an Australian author with an Australian bookstagrammer / booktuber. So I read this with her and I really struggled. I only finished it because I was buddy reading it. Neither of us liked it, but we both pushed through so that we would have something to discuss. I just found it was very much one of her older novels. I can tell that it was fairly new, this writer was. She's definitely obviously improved because she's released many more books. But if you're going to read a book by Flora MacDonald, this is not the one I would recommend starting with, because you will probably not want to read any more by Flora MacDonald because it was not great. I'm not going to lie. I probably gave it about 2 stars. I just found myself really bored, uninterested. There was too many male characters that were practically all the same. Yeah. I read it, but it's gone. Tell It to the Skies by Erica James. I have not read, I will not read. It is going bye-bye. I don't even know. If this wasn't on my 12 books that will self-destruct in 12 months, it would have been Unhauled a long time ago. I think I bought this because I liked the color of the cover. If I'm honest, that's probably why I bought this book. So it is going bye-byes. The Story of Edgar Sortel by David Roblewski. Again, I kept it because it was a red book and I wanted more red books on my shelf. I bought this one because it looked really good. I read some reviews on Goodreads that made it sound like it was kind of up my alley, but it's a really big, thick book and I just, like, the print is really small and I just didn't ever find myself wanting to pick it up. I also feel like if this one had an audiobook, I'd be more inclined to read it. Wings of Glass by Gina Holmes is another one I haven't read. Are we seeing a trend here? These books ended up on this list. They got shoved into the cupboard to keep separate and then I just never remembered about them or never found myself intrigued to them. There's a reason why they were on this chopping block, and unfortunately there is lots of bombs going off tonight because they're all self-destructing. And the last two, Impossible by Nancy Werlin and Traveling to Infinity by Jane Hawking. They're not here anymore. They're going. Goodbye. So it wasn't a very successful 12 months. I managed to read 3 of the 12 and I hated every single one of them. I think that what I'm hearing from this is that my taste, I am slowly starting to know what I do and don't like, and I need to be more harsh. So that's what I'm doing. They're going bye-bye. I'm not keeping them. I'm not having that guilt of, but what if I read it and I loved it? Because it is going to drown me in books if I do that. So they are all going. Now let's jump into the new 13 books that I have on this list for June 2021 to June 2022 that I have to read half of if I ever want to buy a book again. Yeah, that's right. I have to read half of them in that 12 months. Otherwise my book buying ban doesn't get lifted. So let's see what they are. The first one on this list has actually been on my Pigfong TBR before and I didn't get to it. So that's why I'm putting it back on this list. I found myself not wanting to pick it up. I don't know why, because everybody who I've spoken to says that they think I'm gonna love it. It is The Book of Summer by Michelle Gable. It is apparently a contemporary romance read, I believe, that has also got some historical fiction elements in it. It's based in World War II. So like it has everything that I would want in a book. I just don't know why I haven't found myself drawn to it. So I'm putting it on this list in hope that it will make more of a priority. 6 Minutes by Petronella McGovern is the next one on this list, and this is a thriller, which is weird for me to be putting this on this list because I usually read every thriller that comes across my shelf. I absolutely love thrillers, and usually they're my main priority when I pick a book. So yeah, I'm surprised it's taken me so long to get to this one because I remember being so excited when I picked it up and added it to my shelf. And it hasn't been on my shelf for an incredibly long time. I would say probably 18 months or so. So I'm putting it on here in a hope to make it more of a priority, but also realizing that if I don't get to it soon, it's probably never going to happen. It follows the story of a disappearance of a young child. So one mother leaves her child in the care of a whole bunch of other mums in a mums group, and when she comes back 6 minutes later, her child is missing. I feel like this is going to be very much a whodunit mystery, a keep you guessing, edge of your seat thriller. So I do find myself very excited by this. I just haven't picked it up yet, so I'm putting it on the self-destruct list. The Right Girl by Ellie O'Neill is next on this list. This one was one that my sister recommended to me, and I know that I probably will like it, but on my lower priority list, I guess you could say, and that's probably why it's ending up on this list of 13 books. I don't really know too much about this one. I took it because my sister recommended it and she said she really, really liked it. My sister and I do have some similar tastes in reading, and then we also have some other things that we aren't so as interested in. So I'm not like overly enthralled by this book, but I am interested enough that I do want to read it. So it's just lower on that list, hence why it's ending up on this self-destruct list. The Last Summer at Chelsea Beach by Pam Jenoff. I picked this one up from a free little library probably about 12 months ago. It is a very thin historical fiction that I am intrigued by. I feel like it's got romance elements based in a time that I'm really interested in. I just keep forgetting it's on my shelf. It gets low priority, so it's ending up on this list. An Ocean of Minutes by Thea Lim. This one has been on my shelf for far too long, like far too long. Like it really, really needs to just get read or get unhauled. I don't even remember what it's about. It's been on there for that long. So yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory while this one's ending up on here. Black Boxes by Caroline Smaley's. This one was unhauled by a friend of mine and they suggested that I might be interested in it. Her and I do have very different reading tastes, I have discovered. That doesn't mean that I won't love it. I just think what she loved 5 years ago when she read this isn't what she loves now. So it may not necessarily be what I'm interested in either. I feel like it might just miss the mark a little bit. I do love the fact that it has a lot of representation of like mental health and those kind of elements in it though, so I do find that it might be quite interesting. It is fairly thick, but the text is quite large and it's kind of in like diary form, so I want to give it a go. I don't want to give up on it yet, so it's ending up on this list to hopefully bring it higher into my priority. Early One Morning by Virginia Bailey. This is another historical fiction that I picked up knowing that I would love it. I have a really cute photo that I've already taken for this that I took when I took it with me on a holiday quite a while ago. So I'm selfish in that I want to read it so that I can use that photo before I don't look like the person in the photo anymore. So yes, that is my reasoning for adding this to this list, is I need to read it or unhaul it before I can't use the photo anymore. I know that sounds really weird. Next up is The Sandcastle Empire. This one is by Kayla Olson. This one I got in a gift box kind of thing. It came with a book sleeve and a bookmark and a little like mug rug thing that I got from a company by the name of Craft of Stars, and I purchased that package to help raise funds for the Australian firefighters during all of the fires that were happening last year in Australia. And yeah, I didn't really know much about the book before it arrived. I've read into it a little bit. I'm intrigued, but it is not very high on my priority list, so that's why that's ending up on this list. Sweet Bitter by Stephanie Danler. This is another one that I've had on my shelves for far too long, and it is time to either get to it or get rid of it. I do like the fact that this, I believe, has also been made into either a movie or a TV series, so that makes me more intrigued to read it. I think there's also an audiobook for it as well, so, I mean, hopefully I can get to it. Daddy's Little Earner by Maria Landon. This one is one that I'm both afraid and very excited to read. Growing up, I absolutely loved these true stories based on hardship and difficulty. I loved to read them, but also hated to read them because they made me very, very angry. And I know that this will be exactly the same. I will enjoy it, but it will also anger me that there's people in the world like this. So I've been avoiding it, but I also know I'm really going to enjoy it. So I kind of need to get to it or get rid of it, and that's why I'm putting it on this self-destruct list. Year of Wonders by Geraldine Brooks. The amount of people that have told me I need to read this book, the amount of people that have told me I will love this book. It is on the top 100 list of like Angus and Robinson from like 2000 and something or other. I know I will love it. I just find myself almost intimidated or avoiding it because I know that it's going to be a difficult read. Not in terms of content, but in terms of language. I have heard that it reads very differently than a lot of novels that I am used to reading, so that kind of puts me off it a little bit. I know it's not a classic, but I look at it and I kind of get classic vibes. About Grace by Anthony Doerr is another one that I've had on my shelf for just far too long, and it is time for me to either read it or get rid of it. This isn't really my kind of story, but it is very much a FOMO buy. A lot of people were talking about this when I first joined the book community, and so I felt like I needed to get it. But reading into it a little bit further, I don't think I'm going to love it as much as I thought I was going to, so that's why it's ending up on this list. And the final one on this list, number 13, is A Song of an Innocent Bystander by Ian Bone. This is one that I have not seen mentioned a lot on this community at all, but that I find I'm going to be intrigued by. I find myself interested in it, but again, it's just low on the list in comparison to a lot of the other books that I have on my shelf. So I have to be realistic in that I need to get to it or get rid of it. So the point of this list is I didn't want to put books on here that I just had absolutely no interest at all, but there were also ones that were quite low on my priority list. I wanted to make it realistic and doable for me to get at least half of these read by the end of the 12-month period. So that is why you're hearing me say a lot of things of like, I need to get to it or get rid of it, because they're books that I want to read, but they're also books that I don't want to read, if that makes sense. So these are the books that I'm hoping to get to in the next 12 months. Otherwise, they're going to self-destruct and I'm going to unhaul them. I'm keeping them separate from the rest of my books. I'm going to keep them in my TBR cart so that I see them, they're there, I look at them every day, and when I do my pick pong, they're going to be right behind me so that I can try and use them when I pick prompts to match those to get at least half of them read to lift my book buying ban, which I am now officially on because my shelf is full and this is my way of clearing some room to allow me to buy more books. So let me know in the comments down below if any of these books are ones that you think I should jump to immediately, if they're your favorites, or if you DNF them and you think they're terrible. Let me know. Maybe I can unhaul them on subscriber and watcher's opinion. Does that help me count as reading it? I don't know. Let me know in the comments down below what you think, guys. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, happy reading.